Live, you're watching Fox 44 News First at 9, your local news leader.
Good evening, I'm Carly Lang. Thank you for joining us for Fox 44 News First at 9. My co-anchor Chad Sabady is out on assignment. We'll check in with him a little bit later this evening. We start you off tonight new at 9, split down the middle. We're learning 5 Metro Council districts are now divided between the city of Baton Rouge and the newly incorporated St. George. Fox 44's Jonah Gilmore joins us now with details on how this is all going to work. Jonah, good evening.
Hey Carly, many have been asking questions trying to figure out how this Baton Rouge-St. George split will affect them. Today, Metro Councilman Matt Watson provided me with this map showing how 5 districts in Baton Rouge will continue to service those areas, including areas inside the newly incorporated St. George. Changing the makeup of the city of Baton Rouge, the newly elected city of St. George will share some elected officials.
4 districts that are going to have somewhat, a tremendous amount or a small amount of what would be the city of St. George.
This map shows some districts will change, with the white representing Baton Rouge and yellow for St. George.
For matters of the parish, the Metro Council will still be here. It will still continue to represent the constituents, but they will also have the city of St. George represent them on different aspects.
Metro Councilman Dwight Hudson says when it comes to East Baton Rouge Parish, both cities will get their fair share of services.
It's all about delivering services to constituents, and the constituent doesn't really care which entity provides the services. They just want to be sure that both entities are set up, able to provide those services to them.
Metro Councilman Matt Watson says no matter where you live,
we're not a representation of any one city.
Everyone will be treated equally.
The Metro Council is a division of the parish as a whole.
Both councilmen tell me they have one goal, and that's to serve the people of this parish. They say if you still have concerns, you can simply reach out to them. To see this map, to see the map and other stories about the newly incorporated city of St. George, visit our website, beoutproud.com. Reported in the studio tonight, Jonah Gilmore, Fox 44 News.
Jonah, thank you. Turning to developing news, the Alabama student who called in a bomb threat to Tiger Stadium the night of the big LSU-Florida game will now be extradited to Louisiana. Baton Rouge District Attorney Hiller Moore says the 19-year-old will be brought to Baton Rouge to be arraigned. Moore says without the help of LSU, the situation could have been worse and ended a lot differently.
The LSU Police Department, all the people that work with them, got on top of this immediately, and my hat's off to them for working the way they did, because this could have been very disruptive, but the way that they handled it, they got to it very quickly, and it was resolved.
LSU officials say protocol was followed efficiently and effectively. They say there is nothing more important than the safety and well-being of the public while on campus. Turning to new information, a second suspect wanted in connection with the fatal shooting of a man asleep in his car at Highland Road Park is behind bars tonight. East Baton Rouge Sheriff's deputies arrested this man, 19-year-old Corey Sanders. He's one of 3 men accused in the shooting death of Reginald Cossett. If you recall, that shooting happened in the Gardere area back in September. Cossett was later dropped off at Highland Road Park, where authorities eventually found him. Sanders faces multiple charges tonight, including accessory to first-degree murder. Well, turning to continuing coverage tonight, some homeowners living in the soon-to-be incorporated city of St. George are now exploring options to stay in Baton Rouge. Now that option may include a lawsuit. We're learning of a possible legal challenge which would dismantle the new city. We're told a St. George homeowner or the city of Baton Rouge can, if they can prove that the new incorporation adversely affects them or that the St. George area cannot provide critical emergency services in a reasonable time, the courts might rule to dismantle St. George altogether. Now, meanwhile, St. George would have to prove the opposite is true as well.
With a feasible plan that would actually be reasonable to the court to show that, yes, we can provide these services.
Now, Hodge says if a landowner or the city of Baton Rouge were to pursue the lawsuit, the case would last about 6 months before the courts ruled on a decision. Well, switching gears, we are tracking the tropics tonight as a subtropical depression continues to move in the Gulf. We're going to check in now with Chief Meteorologist Jesse Gunkel. He joins us with a breakdown on what we can expect. Jesse, what's going on out there?
Yeah, Carly, at this point, obviously, we are watching this disturbance sitting in the southern Gulf. This is the Bay of Campeche, so that low has moved its way across the peninsula of Mexico. and now starting to fall into an area where it's slowly going to become a little bit more conducive for development really in the next day and a half. As you notice right now, those clouds expand all the way across much of the Gulf. A lot of wind shear out there, and obviously it's running into that same front that just pushed through early on this morning, which is continuing to migrate southward. Now, with that being said, this system may stay subtropical. It could become a tropical system. There is a lot that can happen over the next 2 days before the system eventually pushes inland, and most likely it's going to happen a little bit to the east of us. But as you notice, that chance of development, it continues to climb, with the latest advisory now sitting at 60%, which is in the medium category, but it looks like that's going to quickly start to go to that high category as we make our way closer to about late Thursday and Friday. Notice track models now, Invest 96, all moving it towards the panhandle of Florida, and that is a very good scenario for us, because if that happens, the majority of that rainfall will be on the eastern side of the storm, meaning for us a relatively dry picture heading into the weekend. I just want to show you the European model, and you notice here by the time we get to about late Saturday, it's driving through the area, but as you notice here, a lot of the thunderstorm activity associated with the system will be on that eastern edge. And for us, we may not even see a drop of rain. I still think we're going to see some showers over the weekend, and we'll talk more about that in just a bit. Carla?
All right, Jesse, thank you. Well, turning to your local election headquarters, the state is now accepting public comment on the plan to spend $1.2 billion in flood mitigation funds. The proposed plan outlined the state's approach to funding projects, data collection, and modeling and policy measures that align with the Watershed Initiative's objectives. Public comments are being accepted online, by email, mail, or through fax. Comments will be accepted until November 29th. Well, Democratic Governor John Bel Edwards and Republican businessman Eddie Rispone are now trading attacks in their first TV ads after the primary election and just weeks ahead of the runoff. Now, Rispone is doubling down on keeping his image aligned with President Donald Trump. Newly released ads like this one show highlights from President Trump's rally in Lake Charles. But you might notice that Rispone never makes an appearance in those ads, which is a stark contrast to which the campaign of Governor John Bel Edwards is putting out.
Louisiana cannot take 4 more years of a liberal Democrat governor raising your taxes.
4 years ago, you elected me to pull Louisiana out of the ditch.
And that was a look at those 2 different ads. Edwards talks about working on both sides of the aisle to get state finances in check. He also suggests that Rispone will return Louisiana back to the days of former Republican Governor Bobby Jindal, a frequent target of Edwards. Now remember, voters can have their say in the general election on November 16th. Well, over in Washington, NASA and President Trump want to land the first woman on the moon by 2020. But if that's going to happen, Congress needs to approve the money to pay for it. Jesse Turner reports the head of NASA met with lawmakers today to make a case for the Artemis project.
The day after NASA unveiled the new spacesuit the first woman to land on the moon will wear, the space agency was asking Congress for the money to get her there. The president wants to return to the moon by 2024.
A lot of things have to go right to make that a reality.
NASA Administrator James Bridenstine says 2028 might be a more likely target, which angered Congressman Robert Aderholt of Alabama.
If NASA is not currently capable of landing American astronauts on the moon in 5 years, we need to change the organization, not the mission.
It could cost an additional $25 billion to accelerate the mission to meet the president's 2024 target.
Now, if he came to us and said no wall in return for 24, you might get a few Democrats to agree with that, right? Maybe more than that.
New York Congressman Jose Serrano worries President Trump would instead divert the money for NASA from food stamps and education programs. Other lawmakers, like Texas Congresswoman Kay Granger, say Congress can't afford to get caught up on the cost, as the country faces immediate threats in space from China.
I've had classified briefings that would shock any reasonable person and that clearly made the case that we must accelerate the Artemis program.
Bridenstine acknowledged the threats.
We don't want to be slow. China is moving fast.
But Bridenstine says he just can't guarantee another moon landing by 2024. In Washington, I'm Jesse Tenor.
Well, still to come tonight, leaders in the community, how ExxonMobil is using an industrial training program to help fuel the future for young students. And shopping for a cause. Holidays is back here in the capital city. We'll have more on the Junior League's holiday event and how you can shop for a cause.